Hello everyone, this is second video of hydrological parameters module. First video include the hydrological cycle, forms of precipitation and types of precipitation. This video include rainfall data, how to calculate the missing rainfall data, hydrological analysis and some parameters, hydrological parameters like evaporation, transpiration, and infiltration. So let's start with measurement of precipitation or rainfall. Precipitation is expressed in terms of depth. So rainfall is always measured in terms of depth, and obviously its unit is centimeter am, or usually it is in inch. And the instrument which is used to measure rainfall is known as rain gauge. The rain gauges are classified into two ways, two types: non-recording type rain gauge, recording type rain gauge. Let's see non-recording type rain gauge. The name is Simon. Simon rain gauge consists of cylindrical vessel called metal casing of this dimension. The casing is fixed vertically to a masonry foundation block of size 60 by 60 by 60 centimeter. The funnel is inserted upon the glass bottle. The height of metal casing is fixed so that the rim is 30.5 centimeter above the ground surface, and the bottle called receiver of this dimension, and this rain gauge is kept open. So the non-recording type rain gauge is a simple cylindrical bottle, glass bottle with funnel, and that bottle and funnel are placed on ground. For stability purpose, a concrete foundation is made, or masonry foundation is made, in which the glass bottle, or we can say the receiver, is placed for stability purpose of the rain gauge. So non-recording type rain gauge instrument is nothing but a cylindrical bottle with funnel on top. The rain fall into the funnel is collected in the receiver, means in the bottle. The receiver with the rainwater is taken out from that casing. Then the rainfall depth is measured with a specially measuring glass jar graduated in mm, and it can be measured up to 12.5 mm of rainfall. So simply it is non-recording type rain gauge, so that whatever the rain collected in the receiver or in the cylindrical bottle is now, that water is now transferred into the measuring jar, and the depth of water is measured. Right now, during heavy rainfall, what happened? During heavy rainfall, the rainfall is measured 3 to 4 times in a day, and the total rainfall of the day is obtained by adding all the individual measurement of day. So this is non-recording type rain gauge. So it consists of base masonry, concrete foundation, and the receiver bottle, right, which is inserted in the base, and on top of the bottle funnel is placed. And for the safety and stability point of view, a collector is inserted on top of that system. So the precipitation fall on the funnel through it is collected in the bottle. So this is a simple setup with all dimension is shown in this figure. So site for rain gauge station. Now where we can place this rain gauge is, the site should be in open space The site should be in an open space having an area of at least 5.5 meter by 5.5 meter. The distance of the instrument from the nearest obstruction should not be less than 30 meter or twice the height of the obstruction. A site that is sheltered from high wind should be chosen. The rain gauge, as far as possible, should not be installed on the top or side of the hill. If unavoidable, the site which is best protected from high winds should be chosen. A fence should be erected around the rain gauge station to protect the gauge from the cattle, dogs, etc. The gauge should always be mounted firmly so that it cannot be disturbed even by a strongest wind. The gauge should be set as near the ground surface so we can reduce the wind effect, and a gauge should have level horizontal catch surface. Right? So these are the precautions have to be taken before installing the rain gauges. Let's see recording type. The recording type rain gauges have recording arrangement which give the rainfall intensity and the duration of the rainfall, besides giving the total depth of the rainfall. The rain gauges are therefore more useful than non-recording type. So in recording type rain gauge, we can directly get the depth of rainfall from the instrument itself. So there are three types of recording type rain gauge: tipping bucket rain gauge, weighing bucket rain gauge, and float type rain gauge. Let's see tipping bucket. The tipping bucket rain gauge consists of two small buckets placed below the funnel, fitted in a 30 centimeter diameter receiver. See, the buckets are balanced in an unstable equilibrium about horizontal axis, such that at one time only one bucket remains below the funnel. So there are two buckets which are placed on a pendulum, not on stable platform. So when the water tips in one bucket, after it get filled, then it get up and the second bucket get filled. One bucket is always higher than the other as the rainfall is collected by the receiver. It passes through the funnel to the higher bucket. After a certain small amount of rainfall is received by higher bucket, it becomes unstable and tips to empty itself to a measuring tube placed below it. At the same time, the other bucket become to be higher position and start collecting the rainfall. So it is one of the pendulum type. One bucket collect the rainfall. After some amount of rainfall, it tips the rainfall in the other bottle. At the same time, other bucket comes to higher position and start collecting the rainfall. The tipping of the bucket actuates an electric circuit which cause a pen to make a mark on a chart wrapped around a drum revolved by clock driven mechanism. So this is the arrangement of recording type rain gauges, right? So count the number of marks and noting time, the intensity and amount of rainfall can be determined. So this figure shows the cross section. The collector collect the precipitation through funnel. The water tips on one bucket, right? After collecting some amount of rainfall, The second bucket comes and the water collected in that, and that collected water fall into the measuring tube. At the same time, the graph is plotted simultaneously. So this was tipping bucket type. Now next is weighing bucket. The rain is collected by a weighing bucket through a funnel. Same mechanism. The bucket raised on a weighing platform of a spring or level balance attached to a weighing mechanism. As the bucket is filled with rainwater, its weight increases and weighing platform moves downward. The movement of the weighing platform is transmitted to a pan through a system of links and levers. The pan makes a trace of the accumulated amount of rainfall on a chart attached to drum. The record is continuous and form a conventional mass curve, right? The rotation of the drum set the time scale, whereas the vertical motion of the pan record the cumulative rainfall. So we get a mass curve and we get the total amount of rainfall. So this is the arrangement of weighing bucket rain gauge. So in previous in tipping bucket, there is a buckets on a pendulum on stable equilibrium platform. While here one bucket is placed on a weight and that bucket is rested on a spring. So whatever the amount of precipitation received by the receiver go through the funnel into the bucket, and due to increasing by increasing the weight of the bucket, the spring get move in downward direction, and that spring and all the arrangement is attached with the pan, right? So that movement of spring plot a chart, and with the help of these arrangement a mass curve is plotted and we get the intensity of rainfall. Next is float type rain gauge. In the float type gauge, the precipitation falling on the receiver passes through the funnel and filter and is collected in a float chamber. The filter prevents the dust, debris, etc. from entering the float chamber. The float chamber contains a float with a vertical stem fixed over it. A pan is mounted on the top of the vertical stem. As the rain is collected in the float chamber, the float rises and the pan moves on a chart fixed on a drum, revolved by a clock-driven mechanism. The pan thus mark a trace on the cumulative depth of rainfall on the chart. The record is in the form of the conventional mass curve, from which the intensity and duration of the rainfall can be determined. Right. So what we can see here, that we have two types of rain gauge. One is non-recording and other three are recording. The mechanism is different, but the concept is same. What is the concept? Through some mechanical arrangement, the record of the rain is done through a pan and chart form, right? So due to this movement of the pan and the drum revolvation, we get a curve which is known as mass curve, and with the help of that chart we get the intensity and duration of rainfall, right? So receiver is different. In tipping buckets are there. In weighing bucket, one bucket is there. In that float type, the filter and the funnel is there, and all the arrangement is connected with the pan and chart. and through that pen and chart arrangement we get one curve, and with the help of that curve we get the intensity, means the amount of rainfall, and the time. Clear? So this is the concept of recording type rain gauge. There are three types of recording rain gauges, right? So this topic is over. So let's see the next topic, estimation of missing rainfall data. So we have many rain gauges in a particular area. Due to one or the other reason, it might happen that one rain gauge may be stolen or broken, or whatever may be the problem, we did not get the rainfall data in particular location. So what we want, the missing rainfall data. How? With the help of mathematics, right? So here are the methods to find out missing rainfall data. The methods are: 1. Arithmetic average method. 2nd, comparison method. 3rd, normal ratio method. And 4th, isohydral method, right? Let's see this method one by one. Other that few names are known because it is mathematical methods like arithmetic average, comparison. The last one is I can say hydrological method to find out missing rainfall data. Let's see one by one. So first is arithmetic average. As the name said, what we have to do? Average of what? Rainfall. From where? The rainfall collected from the different rain gauges, right? What is average? Average is the summation of total number divided by the number. So same concept is applied over here. See, if normal annual precipitation is at adjacent stations are within 10% of annual normal rainfall of the station under consideration, then the missing rainfall data may be estimated by simple arithmetic average. So if the number of rain gauges are limited, then this method can be applied. How? So that missing rainfall, say we can say Px of station X. Station means the rain gauge from where we are not getting the precipitation data. So Px is equal to 1 by n to bracket P1 up to Pn. So that P1, P2, P3, Pn are the readings of rain gauges, means the rainfall depth. So summation of the rainfall collected from the all other rain gauges divided by number of rain gauges in that particular area is equal to the unknown rainfall data. Very simple, right? Next is comparison. What we have to do? Comparison of what? Rainfall and the mean annual rainfall. So if the rainfall record of a rain gauge station, say X, is missing, right? So it can be estimated by comparing the mean annual rainfall of the station with that of an adjoining station. So we have to collect the nearby station rainfall data and mean annual rainfall. So here the equation is Px by Pa is equal to Nx by Na, where Px and Pa are the precipitation or rainfall of station X and A respectively for a missing period, okay? This we have to remember. And Nx and Na are the mean annual, means annual rainfall collected at station X and A, right? We have to compare that annual reading and the missing period reading. We get Px. Third, normal ratio. Again, when there is the short break in the precipitation data of rain gauge station, it can be estimated from the observed data of 3 adjoining index station A, B and C, which are evenly distributed around the station X. X is the missing station or missing data station. So here is the equation: Nx by m into bracket Pa by Na plus Pb by Na plus up to P3 Pc by Na up to Pm by Nm, where Nx is normal annual rainfall at station X and Na to Nm are the normal annual rainfall at surrounding rain gauges respectively. So N is the normal annual rainfall for a year, how much rainfall is fallen in a particular rain gauge station. A minimum 3 surrounding stations are generally used in normal ratio method. So for normal ratio method, we required at least 3 nearby rain gauge station, while in previous method we want 1 nearby station record. This is different method, isoheightal map method. Isoheights are the contours of equal rainfall depth. What is isoheights? Contours of equal rainfall depth. An isoheightal map is prepared from the record of various rain gauge stations, right, by interpolation. The isoheightal map method is suitable for the estimation of the missing data of station X due to particular storm. An isoheightal map is prepared from the data of the various rain gauge station and the precipitation of X is estimated. It considered rainfall characteristics including average patterns, distance from sea, topography, storm path, right, and interpolation of the missing data from such maps reasonably accurate. So I can say this is one of the accurate method to find out the missing rainfall data. So in isoheightal maps, the contours are prepared and that contour represent the equal rainfall depth, and from that two nearby contour we can find out the through interpolation we can find out the missing rainfall data. Next topic is average rainfall depth over an area. So if there are 10 number of rain gauges, so we want only one value of rainfall for particular area. So for that we have to find out the average, and there are some methods to find out the average rainfall of that particular area. The rainfall recorded by rain gauge represent the rainfall at that particular station, right? And that particular station or rain gauge value of rainfall is known as point rainfall. In many hydrological studies, the average depth of rainfall over a specified area due to storm or due to a number of storm is required. So for determination of the average precipitation over an area, a large number of rain gauges are installed. The average rainfall over the area is found from the rainfall data of these rain gauges by one of the following three methods. Methods are arithmetic mean method, Thiessen-Polygon method, isoheightal map method. Let's see arithmetic mean method. This is the simplest method. Again we have to do the mean or average. So figure shows that in a particular area there are three rain gauges, say P1, P2, P3, and the rainfall collected in that are 10 mm, 20 mm, 30 mm respectively. So the equation is, arithmetic mean method equation is P bar is equal to 1 by n sigma 1 to n Pi. So summation of that rainfall value divided by number of rain gauges is equal to P bar, which is average rainfall value. So where we can apply this method? When the gauges are uniformly distributed and gauge measurement should not vary greatly about the mean. Thiessen-Polygon, any point in the watershed receive the same amount of rainfall as that at the nearest gauge. So nearer rain gauges represent same amount of rainfall ideally. The rainfall recorded at a gauge can be applied to any point at a distance halfway of the next station in any direction, right? So halfway distance rain gauges having same rainfall value. So these are the steps followed in Thiessen polygon method. Draw lines joining adjacent gauges. Draw perpendicular bisector to the lines created in previous step. So here there P1, P2, P3 are three rain gauges. So on paper draw a line which connect rain gauge P1 to P2, P2 to P3 and P3 to P1. Then draw bisector, that red line bisecting that dotted line are the bisectors for line P1, P2, P2, P3 and P3, PA. Extend the lines created in previous step in both direction to form representative areas for gauges. We have the area boundary, so extend that bisector, red color bisector up to the boundary. Compute representative area for each gauge. Now calculate the area surrounding station P1. That area enclosed by the two bisector and the boundary line around P1 is A1. Similarly, area enclosed by the bisectors and the boundary around P2 is A2, and similarly around P3 station it is A3. Compute the area average using the following formula. Areal average. So finally the mean rainfall calculated by Thiessen polygon method with this equation. P bar is equal to 1 by A sigma I1 to N AIPI, where assume that the rainfall at station or rain gauge P1 10 mm, P2 20 mm, P3 30 mm and area enclosed or surrounding P1 say 12 kilometer square, 15 kilometer square and A3 20 kilometer square. Then the multiplication of area with rain gauge, rainfall value and summation divide by total area 47 kilometer square. So we get the average rainfall. Third method is isoheightal method, and the steps involved in isoheightal methods are construct isoheights. What is isoheights? Isoheights are the contour which represent equal rainfall value. So it is rainfall contours. So prepare a isoheightal map. Compute the area between each pair of adjacent isoheights. See, this is again we have the boundary of that area, we have the location of the rain gauges and we have the value of rainfall at particular rain gauges. So with the help of rainfall value, draw contours of equal rainfall. Say the contour line passing from rain gauge station P1, say 10 mm, then 20 mm, 30 mm. Then find out the area between two lines, two contours, say A1, A2, A3 and A4, right? Compute the average precipitation for each pair of adjacent isoheights, Pi. Calculate the average of the adjacent isoheights, means contour line rainfall. Compute areal average using the following formula. So with the help of isoheightal method, the formula for average rainfall P bar is equal to 1 by n sigma I is equal to 1 to n limit AI Pi, right? So we have the area, we have the precipitation value, multiply with the area, sum it up, divide by total area 47. So we get the average rainfall with the help of isoheightal methods. Right, so our next topic is hydrological parameters, which we will see in next session.